Hey friends, today we are working on our crochet. So I'm starting with a slip knot. However you get there, you get there. If you need me or someone else to do it for you, that's fine. But we're gonna start with a slip knot. Now I'm gonna show you, sometimes people hold their crochet hook like this. Sometimes I hold it like this. Whatever works for you, as long as you are holding the crochet hook in the hand that you write with, and you wanna use the hand you don't write with to wrap the yarn from the back to the front of your loop, your hook, so that the yarn gets caught in that special hook. That's what it's for. It's to catch your yarn and to pull it through all of our loops. Okay, so how I like to do it is hold my hook like a pencil, and I'm holding the yarn still. I'm using this yarn to come up and over. Now if you look, I'm gonna twist my hook so that it's grabbing the yarn as I'm going through my loop. Okay, because if I don't do that, then it falls right off. If I wrap it and then try to pull it, one, it can pop off before I even get there. Two, it gets caught on the other loop. So once you have your yarn over your hook, you need to rotate it, twist it so that it's catching the yarn before it's going through the loop. And also, if you're pulling your yarn too tight, or if you're tightening it every time you do your pull through, it's making it way too tight. So when you're doing your chains, your job is to grab that yarn, twist your hook so you can pull that yarn through, but we want to leave a gap. We want there to be a little bit of room underneath our hook for the yarn to come through. Yarn over, pull it through that loop. And we want there to be some room, because when it's time for us to make our crochet taller, it has to be big enough for us to put our hook back into. So if it's too tight and our hook doesn't fit in there, then it's not gonna work. So we're gonna start off by making 10 chains. So when you have a chain, it looks like a V. It's got one side and another. So I've got 1, 2 chains. I need 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 10 total. And that is going to be the base of what I use to learn to make it taller. But our stitch we're going to use to make it taller is called a single crochet, and we still need 2 chains to start off with. So I have 10, but I'm going to make 2 more. 1, 2, and then I'm going to skip this one because that's the one I just used to make it taller, and I'm going to go into this chain right here. So I'm going to go, this one's on my hook, this one I'm skipping, this is the next one I'm going to. I'm going to put my hook into that chain. You see how it's like a V? And I'm just putting my chain into that top part. I'm going to grab my yarn from the back with my hook. Again, the whole point of this hook is to grab that yarn, right? So we want to make sure we're holding our hook so that it's grabbing that yarn and pulling it through that loop. So now we have 2 loops on our hook. Okay. Then you're grabbing yarn one more time, rotating your hook so that it can pull that yarn through both of those loops. And that is called a single crochet. Okay, so I already have a crochet in this hook. I'm gonna go to the next one, stick my hook in, grab my yarn, pull it through, wrap my yarn, turn my hook, pull it through both loops. That is how you make a single crochet. Ms. Bailey does it fast so that you can see. It's the same thing over and over again in every single one of those chains we just made. Sticking your hook in the hole, wrapping your yarn, pulling it through one loop, wrap, pull it through 2. Stick, wrap, pull, wrap, pull. And if you look, You kind of have to straighten it out sometimes. But now I'm making single crochets in every chain that I made. So the chains are pretty, yes, to make bracelets and stuff, but this is the real part of crochet, making it taller. So we're gonna do that in all of the chains that we have, and then I'll show you how to go even taller. Okay, so I have made a single crochet in every single chain that I made. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 single crochets in my 10 chains that I made. But now I'm at the end, I'm kind of stuck. What do I do next? Well, what we have to do is make more chains so that we can go taller. So you're at the end of your row. You're gonna make another 1, 2 chains, because that's how tall we want our crochet to be. And then we have to flip it. We're gonna turn it onto the back. So it looks a little different back here. These 2 chains belong to this little hole. So we are not crocheting in this hole. That's gonna make it too wide. We're gonna skip it and come to the next one. So where you see this little hole is where you're gonna put your hook. On top it looks like a V. It looks like your chain's on the top. On the side there's a little hole. So sticking your crochet hook into that hole so that there's a V on top, wrapping your yarn, pulling it through, pulling it through. Once you understand how this works, it's easy to keep going, but it takes a little bit to get the hang of. So again, I'm going to the next spot. There's a nice little hole there for my hook to go, making sure I'm going under so that I've got my V on top. Grab the yarn, hooking it to pull through that space, wrapping my yarn, pulling it again. And if you notice, I'm not tightening my yarn every time, because if I do that, then it gets too tight and it's hard for me to keep going. Okay, so in every single space, you're doing more single crochets. Empty space, yarn over, pull your yarn through, do it again. Okay. So this is what we are doing. We're practicing making single crochets these are called rows. So we have 1 row at the bottom. We're working on our 2nd row right now. And I want you to try to go as tall as you can so that we can practice making sure that we're not pulling our yarn too tight. We're only going into the holes that are available and not making new spaces. We're not skipping any spaces. And that we know how to make it bigger. So if you notice, it looks like I'm out of room, kind of, but I do still have this 1 space on the end that I need to stick my hook in, pull the yarn through, pull it through. Now I am truly at the end because it looks nice and flat together, okay? That's where you would do your next chains, turn it around, and do the same thing in each little space that you see. And that's how you make your crochet taller using a single crochet.